A recording of this meeting. There it is. Our town mission statement, which helps guide our decisions tonight and into the future, is connecting our diverse community to an enhanced quality of life through innovative programs and services. Officer Thompson is our Sergeant at Arms for this evening's meeting. We thank you for your attendance. This evening, I will be leading our invocation. As we gather for our regular meeting this evening, I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve alongside all of you in this new year. Across our community, many of our friends and neighbors are celebrating the Year of the Fire Horse as part of the Lunar New Year. The Fire Horse is known for its ambition, and I am proud in knowing each of us has the ambition to make Morrisville the best place it can be. This season brings so many gatherings that strengthen the bonds of our community. In Morrisville, we take pride in our intentional efforts to connect one another across neighborhoods, generations, and cultures. These connections are what make our town such a vibrant and welcoming place. We are all stronger together, and Morrisville continues to show what is possible when we embrace one another with open hearts. May our work tonight reflect our ambition and shared responsibility as we continue building the best possible future for all who call our town home. All who are able, please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we adopt tonight's agenda, Town Council policy is to review and ensure there are no conflicts of interest or appearance of conflict of interest with any items on the agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion and second to adopt this evening's regular agenda?
I'll make that motion. Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Johnson, a second from Mayor Pro Tem Rabati to adopt this evening's agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously 7-0. There are 4 items on this evening's consent agenda. Approval of November and December 2025 Town Council meeting minutes, resolution and capital project ordinance amendment authorizing Phase 2A design build for the Public Works Facility project, resolution award of service sidearm to Brad Manville, resolution appointing advisory committee chairs and vice chairs. Would any member of council wish to pull any item for discussion? Or is there a motion and second to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Rabati, a second from Councilmember Johnson to adopt this evening's consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That also carries unanimously 7-0. We have 2 proclamations listed for reference on our agenda. These will be read and presented at ceremonies with staff outside of this meeting. Those will be proclamation recognizing National Engineers Week and proclamation recognizing Government Communicators Day. Next on the agenda is Morrisville Speaks public comment. For those who have signed up to speak, please approach the microphone, stand when your name is called, begin by stating your name and residential address, and direct your comments to the council. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to ensure everyone has a fair opportunity to share their thoughts. A timer will start after you state your name and address, and a buzzer will sound when your time is up. We appreciate your cooperation in helping us manage time fairly for all participants. Town Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak this evening?
We have 3 members signed up to speak this evening, and we have 1 online. Up first is Suresh Naryam.
Good evening, my name is Suresh, and I live in 803 Willingham Road, Morrisville. I've been a Morrisville resident for a long time. Basically, in 2019, just sharing something personal, I had a severe stroke. And once I recovered, as a thank you, I want to do service to this community. And since then, I've started working, and wherever I find things that can be improved, I put in my effort to make sure that I'm doing my part. So first of all, I want to thank, like I've been working on getting a speed radar put in the Breckenridge area. That is the biggest community that we have. And the speed radars have been put. I want to thank all those people that were involved in it, the residents of Morrisville in Breckenridge are really happy now they have the speed radar. So thank you to them. There are certain other things that needs to be done, and on the 4th of this month, we had our HOA board meeting. So I volunteered to be on the board so that, like I can work with the HOA and make sure that everything that is needed is brought up. So we're working on that. We need some little bit more help on the Corsair and Mamington crosswalk, where we needed a light where people can press the button and make the transition from one side to the other side. So just to summarize, thanks to all the people who have helped, and I'm also looking for more help now. Being on the board over there on the Breckenridge community, I'll make sure there are little things that we can do to clean up the hedges and all that, because it's absolutely blindsided. Somebody is on Corsair, they cannot see the traffic coming in from Davis Drive. So we have 3 council members in our community now. So I'm thinking that we should get some more attention to it. We need to get this moving forward. And I want to thank everybody involved, Steve, and the rest of the folks that have been involved. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Stephanie Reed is up next.
Hi, council members. My name is Stephanie Reed, and I live at 1672 Legendary Lane here in Morrisville. I'm here today to celebrate a major milestone. Last night, the U.S. House has passed the Bipartisan Housing for the 21st Century Act. While it still faces the Senate, this bill represents the kind of bold action we need to solve the supply shortage right here at home. The act tackles the supply gap from every angle: single-family homes, apartments, and modern factory-built housing. Most importantly, it addresses the red tape that keeps families waiting. Here's how this bill changes the game. Speeding up construction, it streamlines the years of permitting delays by allowing pre-approved home designs. This means builders can get to work faster, more efficiently. Modernizing standards, it updates outdated HUD programs, specifically making it easier to utilize manufactured and modular housing, a vital piece of the affordability puzzle that federal rules have ignored for too long. Powering local banks by cutting regulatory red tape for community and regional banks, it ensures they have the stable funding needed to lend locally and support specific communities' growth. And unlocking capital. It lifts investment caps, encouraging private sector investments in affordable housing through the low-income housing tax credit. This isn't just one bill, it's a powerhouse package that includes components from 48 previous pieces of legislation. As this moves to the Senate to potentially merge with the Road to Housing Act, we are looking at what could be the most consequential housing action in a generation. I am hopeful that this federal momentum will provide the tools we need to expand opportunity and economic mobility right here in Morrisville. I urge us all to keep a close eye on this as it heads to the Senate. Thank you.
Next is Ram Takar.
Thank you, and good evening to Mr. Mayor and the Town Council. I represent the local cricket league here, and we are here to firstly thank the town of Morrisville to allow us the home where it all started. We started here in Shiloh Baseball and Shiloh, Maine, and we have grown for like last 15-20 years. And it's all thanks to town of Morrisville for all the support that they have given us, which has also made our journey far greater in terms of when we see our kids these days are going and representing our nation, United States, in the international avenues, in the World Cups, either in under 19 or in the senior teams, right? Yeah. We also have the program that represents women's team, and we have seen in the last 2 years our women teams from local area has also gone and represented the country, right? The idea for coming in today is we got our elections done this year, and we were newly appointed the executive members of the thing. We want to keep our focus going on the youth programs and support the local youth to take up this game and prosper in that and take the game forward. But we have found in the last 2 years the cost of acquisition of the slots on the Shiloh main and Shiloh baseball has become bearingly impossible to keep the program costs sustainable for parents who really wants to try out the sports and see if their kids can make it. So we are here to humbly request and see that if town can look at the cost that we were being offered in 2023, that would be really helpful and appreciated from our side to keep our program sustainable and running. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, if you could please just repeat your name and your residential address for the record. I might have missed it in the beginning when you said it.
He's Ram, he's the president. I am Venkat. I'm the secretary, and I have given my address in there.
It's 15041 Cent Court, Morrisville.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Samantha Warren, 101 China Brook Court, Morrisville, submitted an online public comment. I am Samantha Warren, a 20-plus year Morrisville resident residing at 101 China Brook Court, Morrisville, NC 27560 within the Breckenridge subdivision. I would like to thank the Morrisville Mayor and the broader Town Council in advance for this opportunity to provide public input comments. I would like to commend the Morrisville Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources for the delivery of a fun and interactive program to commemorate Black History Month this year. The spoken word program, held in partnership with Ebony Readers Onks Theater student group from UNC Chapel Hill, was a celebration of culture through art and open to all. The thought-provoking interactive group exercises brought a very diverse group of individuals together representing multiple generations, varied experiences, professions, and races. This type of engagement is essential in creating and strengthening our community, especially given the current socio-political climate of our state and beyond. I'd like to extend thanks to the Morrisville Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources, the Parks, Recreation, Cultural Resources Advisory Committee, the Morrisville Communications Team, and our Town Council for their collective support of the Black History Month programming. Morrisville is known for its cultural diversity. I personally am very proud of it. This year's BHM programming, evoking engagement, cultural understanding, self-awareness, and pride, served as another tangible example of how the town of Morrisville seeks to bring its mission of live connected, live well to life. Therefore, I'd like to ask our Town Council for continued support of Morrisville's cultural programming. Additionally, I'd like to encourage my fellow Morrisville and Triangle residents to both share their ideas for cultural programming and support the programming that's offered. Our collective input and efforts are essential to further strengthen our community and build the cultural competency and understanding needed to help our town realize its full potential. Thank you for this opportunity to provide online public input. Sam Warren.
That's the extent of submissions. Okay. We also provide the opportunity, if you even haven't signed up, you can address this body for up to 3 minutes on any subject of your choosing. Would anyone like to take advantage of that opportunity? Okay. As a reminder, we encourage the submission of written comments, as you just heard, as they offer a valuable way for community members to share their feedback. To submit written comments, please email publicinput@morrisvillenc.gov. We are now moving on to number 10 on our agenda. That's presentations. We have 4 presentations tonight. We now invite Chief Rosser to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to recognize Sergeant Brad Manville on his upcoming retirement. So I'll ask him to come on up here to the front with me, if he doesn't mind. I don't think he likes to be in front of the crowd very much, but that's okay. You know, I've only had a short time here in Morrisville, only about 7 months, but I can tell you in that time, I've seen the difference that Sergeant Manville has made in our department and our town. Through his leadership and the experience that he's been able to provide, it has truly made a difference in our agency and in turn in the town. So I want to first off thank him for that. He has 31 years of service in law enforcement. So for those of you that are familiar with law enforcement or public safety, that's a long time to do this job. It really is. And he has spent that entire time either serving through Wake County or here in Morrisville, but all of that benefited this town in some way, shape, or form. So we all owe him definitely a debt of gratitude for that service and that time that he put in to this profession and to this town. And I can tell you from the ones that we have at the police department that he's either mentored or helped and grow as leaders, as officers. We're going to continue to see those benefits going forward for many years to come. And I want to thank you for that too, because I know that's going to make a lasting impact on our agency, and that's truly, truly appreciated. You know, he brought a lot of experience, whether it be from his participation with SWAT teams to drugs and vice to K-9 to most recently leading our impact unit and supervising that. So, you know, that was a big lift too, getting that team up and running, and it's starting to show its benefit here in the town as well. And, you know, over 31 years, it wasn't just him that made his way through that and paid those sacrifices. He has his wife, Mary Beth, here with him tonight. And I can tell you, and I'm sure he will reiterate that the family, you know, they paid just as much as we do in this profession and serving that time. So I want to turn it over to him, but I just want to thank him for his many years of service, not only to this town, but Wake County as a whole and to this profession. And he has definitely made a tremendous difference here and in the profession for us as a whole going forward. So thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you. I'll keep it pretty short. I'm honored to have worked in Morrisville. A great group of people, both in the town council management, all the way down to the lowest individuals that we've just hired on. Really good support, great community care for us too as well. I'm super honored to have worked here, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And before you leave, we have a little presentation for you. So the town has graciously made a plaque here for you for your years of service here in Morrisville. So take that and display that proudly. And one tradition that we have, which was part of the resolution that you approved tonight, thank you for that we have in law enforcement, is to award them their service sidearm and badge, which he's still got a couple more days of work, so I'm going to have him keep wearing his badge for me for those couple of days, and we'll give it to him on Thursday when he officially retires. But we did take his firearm, and we engraved it with his years of service, along with a patch here from Morrisville Police Department. So we want to present that to you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Doesn't want anything, I guess. Next, I'd like to welcome Fire Chief Tom Dooley.
So we're going to stay on the same subject. We also have somebody we'd like to recognize for years of service with the Morrisville Fire Department. I've only been here for a short amount of time, and he as well, 26 years of service in the Morrisville Fire Department. I have had the pleasure of serving with Chris on many different levels. We've been firefighters together. He's been my driver on a truck. He is one of the best drivers you will ever find. He can even get you on scene sleeping. He does not even have to be awake for it. He'll get you there safely. Inside joke, yes. Chris Salter's been a big part of our fire department for 26 years. He has helped us get through ISO ratings of 1. He has helped us in our accreditation process. He has earned many credentials within our SIPSI. He has been a friend. He's been an ear to listen. We've gone through a lot of life together in 26 years. We've gone through families together, friends together. We're just extremely proud to be able to say Chris Salter was a member of our fire department. And he is sorely missed. We missed him at fire admin already. There's a hole that will never just be filled. We did recognize him within the fire department. We presented him with several awards, but we definitely want to make sure he got back here tonight so that you had an opportunity to say goodbye to Chris as well. So with that, I'm going to bring Chris up here real quick for him to say a few words.
I'm gonna be quick too. I tell everybody from other fire departments that I had a great career. And this great career come from the town of Morrisville and the fire department. So thank you for everything you've done for the fire department and for me and my family. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. He's helped our department build the pipes and drum team. We wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have the honor guard without Chris Salter. He helped us develop our first ever training program. We would not have that without Chris Salter. He was the first chief of training and really took that to heart. And what I would like to make sure that he gets before he leaves Morrisville is one of our Town of Morrisville leadership coins. It's one that he does not have in his collection and would be very proud to have and to add. He's getting this specifically because of his training roots, and in true fashion of Chris Salter, he helped several people earn their credentials within our accreditation process. He helped Martin Hicks get his fire marshal credential. He's helped Captain Gallagher get his fire officer credential. And for that extra effort, helping them get through that process, because it is a long process, it's a lot of paperwork. We want to make sure that we recognize him with this coin and make sure he gets that.
Boss, thank you.
You're welcome. In addition to the plaque.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We're going to switch gears if everybody's ready. Council, we're about to start a new journey together, right? I know we have some new council members who aren't familiar with me, and I look forward to getting to know you all. Give them a minute to leave the building as they got through the important stuff. I thought they were here for me. Evidently not. All right. The gap report. This is something that we build on. Typically, we do this quarterly for our fire personnel. It is something that we do annually for council. It comes out of one of our obligations to our accreditation. We have stated that we will present this annually, and that's why we're here tonight. If you guys are ready for that. Our gap report is a little bit different this year. We are slowly changing that as I get my legs under me as the fire chief, as Chief Boyle gets her legs under her, and we start to gel together. We're evolving this gap report. Ironically, through the gap report, we found some gaps in the gap report. So we look forward to making some of those changes. I know that you guys have looked at some of that, and there maybe are some unreportable data, and they shouldn't be there. We're going to look to try and fix that. We had good intentions. They should have answers to them that we just don't have yet. We were hoping to have some technological advances and some be able to grab that information, and it just didn't come to fruition. So there are some things in the gap report that we have identified that we're going to work on. One of the things we did change is that we are focused on the fiscal year 25. We felt that was more beneficial as it ended in June, so that we have something that we can report to you going into the budget year. If it were not fiscal year 25 and we did calendar year, I'd be up here speaking to you about calendar year 2024. And we felt like that gap in time was just too much. The other thing that we've kind of identified is that we want to make this document a little bit more living. It is a 5-year document. 5 years is an eternity within the fire department. It is an eternity in anything, I think, when you start talking about data. So we are looking at different ways to improve that. We would still come to you with our annual gap report. It is 5 years old. It is up for renewal. We'll be here on April 14th presenting our new one. So kind of keep that in mind with some of that. I know that we provided to you the CRA-SOC that is a little bit dated. We realize that, we know that, and that's what we're working on. And that's what we'll bring to you in April. While that document started in 2020 and is getting a revamp in 2026, the gap reports are annual reports from that date. So we do kind of, touch on those numbers from that point. It is something that is our guiding force for how we're performing. It is how we report to you how we're performing. It's how we report to the community. It is an administrative report that we turn in every year. Data quality is paramount in this. We are really focused on how we can improve in the fire department. One of those starting points is our data. We have to make sure our data is correct. We want to make sure before we make any decisions, whether it be financial or personnel or unit movements, whatever it may be, we want to make sure that the right data that we're analyzing is correct. That the data going in is clean, it is good, and we're implementing several things to make sure that happens. So before we make costly changes, we want to make sure the data is good. We don't want to be afraid of the data. Not all data is bad. It is good. We can learn a lot from it when we dive into it, and that's our intent. We did find some gaps that we'll talk about, as in the representation of our turnout times. We've kind of laid out a little step-by-step on what it looks like to us and what some of that data means and why it's important to have that data clean. We did find some staffing challenges that we've moved to already address in this new fiscal year, both in just tracking for data and also for just the numbers that we have, which you guys are familiar with as we've presented in the budget. The apparatus maintenance dollars need to be more in detail. We've identified that we should be tracking the life of a truck. We are very good at presenting the dollars per year what we spend, and we've identified that we need to really kind of take the life of the truck and be able to track that data and the cost and be able to say what a truck costs in year 1, 2, 3, and then what it looks like at 10, so that we know really when a truck becomes, less useful in service, where it becomes, more of an expense to operate than it is functionally given us, or when it should be moved into reserve. And I think that the dollars and the maintenance cost of that can help us figure that out. So the accurate and route times, when they are ideal, when they are right, we have a turnout time and we have a travel time. When we look at it, we don't want to just take it for face value. It can tell us a lot just in these simple numbers, right? We do, for a fire call, look for 80 seconds or a minute 20. We expect 5 minutes in a travel time. And if all the data is right, if everything is smooth as possible, it would look just like that. We would be shooting for that 80 seconds or the minute 20, and we'd be shooting for that 5 minutes, and everything would be good, right? But data can be a little bit, if you look beyond the surface, and we get into a situation where the turnout times are early and the travel times get extended, meaning, let's say 30 seconds is a turnout time, meaning that's when we got the alarm in our station and we got ourselves on the truck and we're heading out the door. If that was showing us 30 seconds and the travel time was extending as longer, there's a lot of things that we need to look at. What is that telling us? What story is that telling us? It could be that we could, it could be where our stations are located. It could be the street connectivity. It could be the traffic. It could be, we've made a deployment change that affected, we put a truck in a different place and, or we changed our response model and it affected our travel time. It could be traffic preemption, the pluses and minuses of traffic preemption, getting those lights to work with our trucks when we're coming down the road. Why did our travel time extend? Is it because it's possible on the turnout times we have a policy issue? Maybe people are hitting that button or getting out the truck or marking on the radio prior to that minute and 20 seconds. So is there a personnel issue that we have to address? They're not following policy on when to let that turnout time be captured. What if the turnout time is getting longer and the travel time is getting less? The travel time is good, but is that for real? So if the turnout time gets longer, are people slow to the truck? Are they not reacting appropriately when that call comes in? Is that a training issue? Is our station layout where the bedrooms are not accommodating a quick response on the fire trucks? These are all the kinds of things that we want to ask when we see the data. And this is just kind of a light example of something as simple as turnout time and travel time. How can we control these numbers? What are these numbers telling us? Critical tasking, you hear a lot about that, especially as we speak to staffing. We have a lot of tasks that are required on a fire scene. More people means more efficiently we're getting those tasks completed. Faster that we get those completed, the faster we can mitigate an emergency scene. We do run 3-person minimum staffing versus 4-person minimum staffing, which is recommended by NFPA 1710. It is something that's a standard in the county. It's also a standard that's within our CAM system. We are operating at 3 personnel. We just don't have the overall numbers to dedicate ourselves to 4-person truck units. It is a gap that we've kind of identified, and one of the things that we went into this year to try and fix is, for one, we want to be able to speak better to where our time is going. If we have 19 people on shift and we're not able to staff trucks with 4 personnel, where's that time going? We did add some pay codes this year that will hopefully help us track where those where they're going. Is it vacation? Is it sick? Is it parental leave? Whatever it is, we want to be able to kind of break that down to where all those hours are going. We did, and through this gap report, and I presented a deployment model, we are moving away from Quint concept into a traditional engine and ladder deployment, enabling people to specialize in their truck. We did take the Swiss Army approach with the Quint, and we are bringing that back into, if you arrive on scene, you should know what your task is, and that was very convoluted as a Quint concept. You arrived on a ladder truck, but depending on when you arrive on scene would dictate really what your task was on scene, versus I'm showing up on a ladder truck, I know what my job is. I'm gonna do ventilation, or I'm gonna do search and rescue. You had to figure out, okay, I'm second or third on scene. I could be an engine company, acting as an engine company. I may have to deploy an attack line, or I may get assigned ventilation. So it just increases, having that specialization, what they have on that truck will make us more efficient on a fire scene. Critical tasks, I think it's fair to show you what we mean by critical tasks. These are what we're talking about. You'll notice that CAM are critical tasks, but these are all the things that we need to happen when we get on scene. This is for a single family structure fire. I have put up there, it does show 20. That is a CAM number. That is something that CARE, Apex, and Morrisville all got in the room and hammered out on what we feel like is the appropriate number of people. And I've compared that to what the NFPA 1710 says. We should have 16 people on scene. If you've got an aerial, which we do, that it should be 17 people. So we are lower on NFPA. That's okay, because that's part of the benefit of the CAM partnership. We're bringing a lot of units and a lot of people to the scene between the 3 departments, and we're able to meet the 20-person for the critical tasking. So our plan, monitor data quality and explore additional changes as needed. Data cleaning continues to be an emphasis. It's something that we've really dove into. Chief Boyle came in April. Some of the things that we found were just bad data coming in, and we found several reasons for that. We found there to be a lot of technological issues that were limiting us to get proper times. Our reception, for example, for cellular service or internet service with Cradlepoint, when the truck rolls, that is supposed to be what marks an en route time. That's what marks us. But we were having connectivity issues on our truck, and sometimes that truck wasn't connecting to the system until they were 25, 30 seconds down the road, which was affecting our en route times. They were looking longer than they were supposed to be. We found out that a lot of staff were getting discouraged by finding bad numbers and weren't necessarily reporting it. So they knew it was wrong, they knew it was 20 seconds off, but they didn't feel like they had a way to report that for us to be able to verify that and get that corrected, clean data. We now have a policy, we have a spreadsheet now, we have in SharePoint where if you know that your times are wrong, you leave your report open, you turn in that call report, and it's getting monitored by Chief Boyle, and we are making sure those numbers get corrected. So as time goes on, our data is getting cleaner and cleaner, and that's kind of sometimes what I mean by clean data versus just what the system's telling us. But we looked at that data, we saw we were getting longer en route times, we dove into the reason why, and it wasn't personnel. Our eyeballs were telling us that firefighters were getting to the trucks as fast as they possibly could and safely. So it had to be something else. So we dove into the technology side, and we think that we really we hope we have found a solution. We are moving away from some of the tablets that we have. We're going towards the iPads with cellular service versus the Cradlepoint. And so far, we're seeing really good results out of that. We don't have all of our trucks set up that way. We piloted that with our rescue truck first, and the numbers were looking a lot better and more reliable. So we're excited about that change. We think overall that's going to be a big plus. Increase minimum staffing to 20 to achieve a minimum of 4 people per company. We are at 19 right now with a minimum of 3 per company. 20 is we're asking to get the 20 so that we can make that as a requirement. So currently, what we do is, we technically can go down to 13 people as minimum staffing, which is way less than ideal. We do allow 3 people on a truck, and as you saw from the critical tasking, there's a lot of work to do on a scene, right? So having more people on scene, if you can imagine advancing a fire attack line, for example, into a structure that's 4,000 square feet, and there's only 2 people on that, because the engineer's got to stay with the truck, 2 people go in. So a company officer is having to manage, if he's first on scene, if they are having to manage the incoming units, because first on scene is supposed to be the command unit. He's trying to manage how they get water supply, trying to manage the incoming units. He's trying to talk on the radio, and he's trying to keep eyes on his firefighter so that when they go into the building, they start advancing, it's just the 2 of them. And for every turn in the building, you know, it creates a pinch point, and the company officer has to leave the firefighter in order to advance that line. So now you've got a firefighter, and right now that could be a very inexperienced firefighter by themselves making some decisions because they've had to slide back and move hose. So just a quick example of where the importance of having staff on these trucks is. And we can talk about that more when we get to the end if you have any questions about staffing. We did ask one of the transitions, and you know that was part of the presentation when we went and changed the deployment model. We evaluated whether or not we needed a ladder truck this year, and we went with 2 engines. We're already seeing some dividends on that. We did take 2. It was slated for $2.4 million to buy a ladder truck, and we were able to purchase the 2 engines. So we were able to get 2 apparatus versus the 1, and the cost came in less than it would have been for a ladder truck. We are finding. We have our reserve units are pressed into service a lot. They're 2006 and they're 2008, and we are very high on the maintenance just because of their age. We are asking way more than they're prepared to give us right now. But that was one of those things where we dove into the data, and I think that was a good decision, and I think we have more good decisions coming with that deployment model and the apparatus replacement plan. We did do the community risk assessment standard of coverage. I mentioned that earlier. We are working on that currently. Chief Will's up to our eyeballs on that with accreditation renewal. That's the next document that we will bring to you and present to you, and that's really where a lot of the meat of what we do as a fire department is really located in. So that's coming really soon. Work with the Transportation Emergency Response Partners. We are working with some of the technological, again, back to en route times and response times. One of the other things that we found technologically is that all our trucks have the traffic preemption hardware, but all our lights don't. We actually in town have very few lights that are traffic preemption prepared. So we need to put a little bit of a priority on getting the lights set up with traffic preemption. That would vastly improve our response times and our route times if we could get that dialed in. We are expensing the money for the traffic preemption in our trucks for the service that's required. It's a 5-year contract, and I think that we just need to get the lights up and running to take full advantage of that investment. All right. It's really what I have to say about the gap report. I suspect we'll have questions, and I welcome them.
I'd like to recognize Mayor Pro Tem Rabati, please.
I'm not sure, and I know you've explained it to us like 6 times over the years, but I'm still not sure that I understand exactly how you all are staffed. Like,
Okay.
there are going to be 5 teams of 4 people, and they're going to cover 3 fire stations, and I just don't get that.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure I understood where that was, but we have 3 stations. We have 4 frontline trucks. So we have engine 21, rescue 21, ladder 22, and ladder 23, plus we have the battalion chief ride. Mm-hmm. So if we are at 3 on those, if we allow 3 on all those with the BC, that's a staffing. That's where we get the 13 from. So if you have 4 units and there are 4 people, that's 16 plus the battalion chief, we're at 17. So 17 is really where we want to be at on duty minimum staffing. If we can get to 20, that'll allow us our 3 people off, which, we would want to prove where that time goes. We allow sick time, we allow vacation, there's open positions. We have a hard time keeping all the staff positions. There's a lot of turnover. So that's where all our people are. Now, it looks funny because it looks like we have extra people at every station. So it's 4 and 4, for instance, but it says there's 9 minimum staffing. So 4 and 4 is the minimum staffing of the truck. We say 9 at the station because then there's that one extra person. And that one extra person is in reality a vacation day, a sick day, or a FMLA day, or an open position. So that's why sometimes those numbers look, I guess, a little bit weird. I hope I'm answering your question.
So at any time, there should be 9 people on staff, but
Yeah, if we're full.
right, so, but they're not on staff 24/7, 365. Are there 2 groups of 9 people?
Okay. There's 3. So we have 3 shifts. We have an A shift, a B shift, and a C shift, and when they work, they are 24 hours. So they come on at 7 o'clock in the morning, with the exception of the battalion chief. He starts at 6:30, and they work for 24-hour periods, and they get off the next day at 7 o'clock. So we have an A, B, and C shift. So that would be, if we say we have 19 people, that's 19 per shift.
Okay, so it's 19 per shift,
Yeah.
but there's an extra person that's kind of a floater, but most of the time they're not really a floater because there's
Right.
always somebody on vacation, somebody sick, whatever. Okay, so how many people do you actually need? And are the people available and we just haven't approved hiring them, or are the people not available? Like, how many open positions are there and how many ideally would you want to staff?
We feel the ideal number is 20. When we go to 20, that means that's where we'll make that transition to 4 people on the trucks. We will allow 3 people off, and if one person called out sick, that would be 4 people off. We'll bump 1 person on the rescue truck down to 3. We'll allow the rescue truck, but our primary units would still say 4. So we feel that ideal number is 20.
20 per shift?
20 per shift.
Okay.
Yes, for various reasons, people are off, and that fluctuates. Sometimes it's FMLA. We just have a rash of people that got injured and have to be off for whatever reason. Sometimes we have a lot of babies that showed up in the department, and they're on family leave or parental leave. They always seem to come in waves. It's never just one person. It's like 3 or 4. So sometimes that is part of the equation. Here lately, we've hired military, so there is military service that we have to respect. We have weekends that they have to do. So there's open positions, and that fluctuates. Sometimes we have 1. We currently have 4. We are doing our best to fill them as fast as we can. It's a challenge, though. We're trying to get people, within that 0 to 5 years is where we're losing people. Once we get them past 5 years, it seems that we hold them. The issue for us is that, as a fire department, we average 9.1 years with Morrisville Fire Department. And that seems pretty low to me. If you take away the 3 original hires, myself, Kurt, and Criddle, right? If you just take away those 3 people, we drop down to 7.5. We have company officers that, have 4 years fire service, so it's a challenge that we're constantly trying to meet, that we are trying to keep those positions filled. We try to fill them as fast as we can. It's a balance, we have run academies, as you know, but the problem with that is you're taking on somebody with very little fire experience and very quickly trying to move them through, and that just takes time. I mean, there's some things you can teach, and there's some things that just take time to learn and to just evolve.
Okay, so what could we do specifically to help you?
Well, specifically, you could approve the position we're asking for in the budget this year. That would be, that's what we're asking
You're asking for 1 position in the budget?
this year, yep. There's 3 firefighters, correct. That's a good clarification to make. That is 1 position per shift.
Okay.
So it is 3 people total.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Scroggins Johnson, followed by Councilmember Kessling, please.
Thank you for this update. This is very helpful information, and, data is sometimes misleading if you don't always collect it at the right time point. So it's a good analysis to understand the call times were impacted by the, sinking issues.
Yeah.
Is that something that is inherent in the devices not syncing, or is our Wi-Fi environment, the cell coverage at risk?
It's not at risk. It's, but we did identify, so how did we solve that? We've identified that the tablets they weren't performing as the same as an Apple iPad. We were getting better performance out of an Apple iPad with a cellular service built in versus a tablet coming off the internet off the truck, which was our cradle point. The other thing that we did working with IT is that we put boosters, cellular boosters. So with that cellular service, we put boosters in the station, and that has helped a lot. So, it's also good to see some of this data and you see the response times and just realize that some of the N numbers, right, the N being the total number of those calls, if they're low, that can be very, it can be, one call can throw that all off. It's also location. Sometimes, and this is a benefit to CAM, I'll give a plug for CAM. One of the numbers was our moderate rescue, and the two of them were on NC 55 and one was on Village Market. Because where those fell, we got the full deployment of our CAM partners. And our response times, we were able to get our full response force with under our numbers on scene because of the locations of those calls and dropping those jurisdictional lines, taking the closest unit. We were able to get a rescue 7, engine 7, ladder 5, and then our unit. And we were able to get all those units in there in a time frame that we typically reserve for just one unit get on scene. So that's a testament to the CAM and how that works. If we had taken that same call and put it over by Shiloh, on the other end where we don't have the advantage of CAM, those numbers can climb because it takes longer for everybody to get across and we don't have that advantage of the location. So sometimes location, it can just be the luck of the draw, where it was located for that call. And then sometimes it can be just not luck, it was good planning, right?
Right. Very good. Now, are the tablets dedicated to just collecting information, or is it response time only, or is there other tasks that these tablets do?
The tablets do other tasks. Predominantly we use them for call response. We are able to take those tablets, which is another benefit to move into cellular service. With the tablets, we had to stay within a certain distance of the truck so that it could stay connected, because there is information that we want to transfer to the EMS unit that arrives on scene. So that's a benefit that we have gotten, but yes, the tablet was limited, that it had to be connected to the truck. If it got too far away, we lost it, but we could still put data in it, but it wouldn't really download until we got back closer to our truck. Now with the cellular service, that is ongoing. It stays connected. So far, it's working out pretty well for us. We're really happy with the results. So yes, it was a limitation, a little bit of the tablet versus an iPad, and I think one of the better benefits was moving to the cellular service on it versus the connectivity to the truck.
Right.
And then putting that booster in the station, I think, has helped a lot too, because sometimes when you get under metal roofs or into those buildings, we're losing that signal. We pull out of the station, we were also kind of finding that it would be connected to the internet because it's parked in the truck, but as the truck gets down the road, it disconnects itself from the station and then goes to cellular or the trucks, so that sometimes that switchover was also creating a little bit of a gap or a drop, and we weren't getting an accurate in route time. The way they're set up right now is that they automatically, once you get up to 5 miles per hour, they're supposed to, boom, they're en route. When the truck stops, it counts down seconds, it says boom, on scene, but it backs you back those seconds. So that's kind of built into the tablet or the system. We moved away a little bit from our CAD system that we were using. We're looking at Freedom app. The Freedom app, as part of this whole changeover, has also been cheaper and more reliable. And we kind of stole that from Carrie. Carrie moved to that first. So that's been another benefit as we dove into that data and trying to figure out how can we make this better. We're moving into Freedom app, which is giving us the same kind of service, but it's way more user-friendly, and so far it's been more reliable.
And possibly you could use that with some of your CAM analysis, if you're using a similar system.
Yeah. That helps. One of the things that we're doing is, in the background, is we're trying to get access to CAD. Chief Boyle has gone through a very long process of getting actual access to the CAD. We take our data from ESO and what they send us, but she's working on it. It's been fingerprinting, it's been paperwork, all of that to get into the raw data of CAD, which is really sometimes what we need for some of these reportables that we have not been able to report to. That's really sometimes the access we need that we just don't have. That's not really relevant to the truck, iPads, or tablets, but that is something that came up in all of this. But to your original question, mostly this is for tracking our en routes and our on-scene times. It is our data linked to the communication center so that when you're responding to a call, you're getting updated information. We do have prepared live so that if somebody on the other end is willing to click on the link and use their phone, we can actually have a live feed with them. We use them for pre-plans. We're able to pull up the pre-plans for a structure so that we know what we're walking into and what the hazards are for that. And then we are able to, one of the coolest tricks with those is that we're able to take that with us into the house for an EMS call, and we're able to right there, enter that information in instead of the old-fashioned writing on a piece of paper. So, and a big advantage of that is then when Wake County, the ambulance shows up, it's an easy transfer of information, and we continue that right on that road. And it also has opened up the door. I mean, we can talk about this all night, I guess, but it's also opened up the door to how we're going to start auditing our call reports. There's a lot of information there for EMS that we can learn from. And we've created a team to start evaluating those narratives and those EMS calls, which is something that we have been attempting for many years. We have gone by committee. We asked the department who wants to be part of this team, and we got overwhelming response, which was a little bit unexpected, to be honest with you. We thought call reports would be something that would turn people away, but no. So we're gonna address this with a committee, and we're gonna get better quality out of our EMS reports, and we're gonna learn from
I mean, that's what I'm, curious about is now that you have a lot more richer data that is more timely and succinct,
Yes.
And if you can get into the back end, then you can make better strategic decisions about delivery or, policy changes if needed, and, you're ISO certified and everything. Yes. So it's, to me, that's having that constant connection versus relying on a Wi-Fi effectively is what it is going to be dodgy sometimes. But so I do have a question about the CAM system a little bit. It's like you mentioned, and Mayor Pro Tem Rabati asked about the staffing levels.
Yes.
A minimum of 3. With our minimum of 3 currently, how many times have we had to ask for mutual aid because we need more support versus if we had 4, we wouldn't need mutual aid? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and it's really baked in. Our partners, they default to a 3-person company because that's what we provide. So when we get together, we determine what the critical tasks are. So we determine how many people we think should be on scene, take care of whatever mitigate whatever it is. And then from there, all right, how many units do we have to dispatch to this, right? So, and if you assume the 3, then we kind of go through that. When we build that out, okay, we need for a moderate structure fire, we need 4 engines, 1 ladder, 1 rescue, and 2 battalion chiefs, right? So that kind of leads into one to the other. So yes, it is baked in on what the minimum staffing is for Morrisville as we have planned out what our dispatches are. And we go by AVL, so we don't necessarily have to ask for a unit because we're short. It would pull automatically as we need units. But yes, think about like an EMS call, you go to a cardiac, we should have 4 people on scene. You need 4 people on scene. And what the result of that is because we have 3 people on a rescue truck, if there's only 3 people on that truck today, it means dispatching another unit. So now we've got 2 units tied up for a medical call that really, if we had 4 people on that truck, we would be able to satisfy.
Okay, that's helpful. And then my last question, and you might not know this, is how much does a preemptive light kind of device, because I know that it's not just for the trucks, it's also for the street lights or stoplights.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you roughly numbers if you want those.
If you want to research that and send it to us.
I'll spit some numbers at you. For the surface on trucks, fire and police, we're talking about $116,000 for a 5-year plan, and that covers you for hardware. If something breaks, you're going to get something new. So that's what it costs from the truck point of view. When you get to a traffic light, you're talking to go from 0 to what you need is about $20,000 to $25,000.
Okay.
We do have lights that do have the hardware, and we've spoken to Carrie, but we can't get those lights programmed for us because it requires an engineer to come in and put their stamp of approval on that. For that type of thing, it's anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Councilmember Kessling, please.
All right, I'm ready for this.
Chief Dooley. I appreciated the presentation, especially like the en route time charts.
Yes.
Something very simple, but also very effective to get the point across. Total number of firefighters in the department, is it 57?
Well, it's 57 suppression, yes, sir. So 19 per shift, yep, we're 57, then we have admin staff, so I think we officially landed at 66.
Gotcha. How long have we been operating with a 3-person minimum?
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah, but let me defend that a little bit. The reason why it was okay for 3-person on this was the argument made with the Quint concept, is that 3 people on the first arriving unit, being the ladder truck, was supposed to have a secondary unit attached to it. So while we were allowing 3 people to ride on that truck, it was okay because it had a chaser unit attached to it, meaning we would have 5 or 6 people that would be able to get into those functions. So, but that never has been able to we never have been able to get to that level with the staffing that we have.
And would you say that it is a safety issue to have a 3-person minimum versus a 4-person minimum?
I absolutely do, and I absolutely think we've gotten away with it for a long time. I think considering we're an ISO 1 in an accredited fire department, the fact that we are getting away with 3 people on a truck is just a testament to just how good our people have been performing. But indirectly, is that why we have turnover in 0 to 5 years? Are we asking too much of our staff of 3 people on a truck that they said, no, this isn't for me? I mean, we have a lot of turnover in 0 to 5 years. That could be playing a factor in that.
Yep. And an extension of that possibly is it may follow that if we increase to a 4-person minimum, we might have less FMLA leave due to the firefighters having the necessary support to do their job safely.
Yeah, a lot has changed. Even back when we were looking at 3 people, a lot has changed. We have a lot more benefits that we offer as a town that we should offer from a standpoint. So a lot of that has evolved as well that we're trying to adjust to. We want people to have their time off. That's part of the whole health and wellness of our staff. They should be able to take time off. Right. We rely on holdovers. We hold people over for overtime, which is good in the moment, but it takes a toll on people over time.
Mm-hmm. So I want to ask a question about the Wake EMS changes, and I'll try to formulate it as best I can. With the metrics that we're collecting.
Yes.
And I know that we're changing from Quint to CAM.
Yep.
And
to traditional model.
Traditional, sure. Yep. And we've been collecting metrics with the Quint model.
Yep.
Have we fully transitioned to the traditional?
No.
No. When would that happen?
It's going to rely a little bit on you as a council and what you approve.
Gotcha. So setting that aside.
Okay.
With the Wake EMS changes.
Yep.
Do we expect any sort of different metrics? We're operating under one kind of environmental.
I think the biggest metric we're going to watch is how long we're on scene. I think that's going to be the biggest tell to those changes in protocols. How is that affecting us? I think it's going to also be something that we watch is that secondary unit. If we get that secondary call and we're tied up on a call for 30, 40 minutes waiting for an EMS, does that roll downhill for the next call? Is a Morrisville unit not able to get to that call? Maybe it pulled a carry. So those will be the kind of metrics that we will definitely, start to play a factor into that. I would say the on-scene one is definitely one that we are going to start tracking. Not just us, but Carrie is as well, and they've made that statement out loud.
And this was a trial that they're doing, Wake County?
I would say they're calling it a trial. I would say they have been slowly rolling it out. They do kind of have a start date where they said this is going to go live. They have staged it out because of a lot of the feedback they were getting from, fire departments, fire chiefs, town managers, officials. So they are staging that out. We are well on our way into that.
Okay. And then last question is, what do we do with the old trucks and engines once they're?
We surplus them, yeah. So, and what I would say is we did put that in the parking lot, and I'd be glad to talk. I mean, I don't know if this right here is the right forum, but we have a plan. We have it broken off into stages, and yes, we will have many future conversations about how to get there. And it will be a conversation about apparatus, and it'll be a conversation about staffing. And there'll be just decisions to make. There'll be some forks in that road, and we'll do the best we can to pick the right direction.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
I just have a statement about the traffic preemption and putting it on the lights. That seems like really low-hanging fruit to me, if that's a way to really improve our response times.
It would drastically help our turnout times, but there is a cost to that. It is, when you start adding up all the intersections and the lights, we have met with Public Works, who have identified the priority lights. But yeah, it would drastically help us.
I mean, if you could throw some data at us and say it would save 45 seconds out of
Okay.
220 seconds, I mean, something meaningful that we can really,
My backup is giving me thumbs up and nodding your head. So yes, we will work on that.
because the asks are coming and you can only
Correct.
get if you ask. So,
Sure.
and then we
Absolutely.
have to prioritize, that's our job. So,
We see you, if you want to come hang out with me in my office one day, you could see a dramatic difference in that intersection between Town Hall and Morrisville, Carpenter and 54. That we don't have traffic preemption built into the truck, but what we have is a traffic preemption button in our fire station. And you can see the drastic difference of when they forget to hit that button or are unable to hit that button and when they do hit that button. Because that button clears them on a green for Town Hall and it gives them a green at Morrisville, Carpenter, and Chapel Hill. And when they get those two greens, it's a world of difference. And that's what we want for all our lights.
yeah, because we don't have any sides. I mean, the cars are in all the space.
Yes.
So it's not like you can use
And there's no escape route for them.
Right.
They can't go anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
This has been a really helpful presentation. Really appreciate it.
All right.
And we're looking forward to all the future presentations.
All right. We'll see you soon. We're going
Okay.
to see you real soon.
Thank you
Thank you.
both.
Thank you all, council.
Okay, we'll move on to sustainability now. We now invite Kimberly Conley, our sustainability coordinator, to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Nice to see you again. I have the pleasure of providing an update on the sustainability program for fiscal year 25. We're going to talk about the Master Sustainability Plan. The primary goal tonight is to review the status of the 11 goals, 5 of which sunset in fiscal year 26, so by this June. We're also going to touch on some current actions that we're working on along with the Sustainability Task Force, and I'll explain who they are in just a second. We'll touch on some funding, and then we'll also talk about the next generation of the Master Sustainability Plan. I'll take some questions at the end. We'll have plenty of time for that, so I look forward to those. So, okay. The Master Sustainability Plan, when I first came on board in November of 2020, our intent was to create an energy consumption baseline from which we were able to design some stakeholder engagement, even though the plan was really identified as something that we would be working on internally, right? Trying to create opportunities to be examples to our community. So how could we sort of right our own ship internally? So reduce our own electricity, think about greenhouse gas reduction, gasoline reduction, those kinds of things. We still thought it was important to go ahead and get a stakeholder engagement process in place. We did a lot of data analysis. We also did some assessments of previous sustainability projects that took place prior to formalizing the sustainability program. So we included those in that Master Sustainability Plan as well. That was adopted by Council at the end of June of 2022. We began that process in fiscal year 21. The current plan goes from fiscal year 23 through fiscal year 28. It originally included 11 goals, 17 strategies, and 35 actions that we are currently working through. And those goals fall into one of 6 categories. So you have those kind of cute icons at the bottom there. So those are energy and water, waste and recycling, transportation, built environment, natural environment, and greenhouse gas reductions. So the Sustainability Task Force, they are made up of almost every department in town sends a delegate to be on the Sustainability Task Force. So we meet quarterly, and then we have subgroups, and those subgroups are aligned with our focus areas that I just referenced. Those subgroups work on the actions that were identified in the MSP at the beginning. And so every year, we're working on those particular actions. We do include updates on STF accomplishments in our news and notes, which you may have seen here recently. I did also want to mention, so since this position is, I know we have a couple of new council members, so just making sure you know this. Welcome, by the way. Public Works is also obviously a very big supporter of this program, and primarily because of the nature of the goals, right? So they are within facilities, fleet, and grounds. So I'm leaning on them quite a bit to help with all of these strategies. So I just wanted to mention that. So the first focus area that I'd like to touch on is energy and water. And we have a goal. Our goal number 1 is to reduce electricity consumption 5% by 2026. And we are currently at an 11% reduction. We're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail on the next slide. How did we get there? Energy efficiency, conservation campaigns, building automation systems, as well as the on-site solar generation that we've been able to put in place. The solar generation goal number 2, was 200 kW by 2026. I'm really excited to share with you that we attained that by calendar year 2024, and we're at 267 kW currently. We have rooftop arrays at Public Safety, Town Hall, Fire Stations 1 and 3, as well as our connector building. And here's that detail slide I wanted to talk to you about. There's a lot going on here, so I'm going to walk you through it. The bar on the left is our baseline. So we use 2019 as our baseline year. We had just over almost 2.1 million kWh in that year. Our goal, if you kind of follow that dotted line over to the target 5% reduction, that's what we were shooting for the 2026 goal, so that 1.99. What we've been able to do with our solar generation and our conservation campaigns is we are at 1.864, which is an 11% reduction. If you look at procured electricity based on our baseline, we are down 20%. So procured electricity is the electricity that we don't have to purchase from Duke Energy because we are generating so much of our own power at this point. So that's pretty remarkable. If you were to look at additional facilities are new facilities. So when we did this analysis, we decided that we really wanted to keep this as apples to apples as possible. So we did not include Fire Station 3, Fire Admin, new EV chargers that came on after 2019, and new streetlights, which is streetlights are a significant impact to our consumption. So if you were to take those into account, you'd be closer to 2.5 million kWh, which is a 17% increase. So as we look to the next generation of the MSP, how we're calculating and tracking these kinds of things may look a little bit different. I wanted to touch on one of our energy and water conservation campaigns that we currently have at the MAFC. I hope you all have been at the facility in the last year to see these. We're really proud of these. So this is an effort to to bring our MAFC patrons, to engage with them as well as staff, right, to identify opportunities to conserve water and conserve electricity. So we worked with a graphic designer to help us come up with these, I think, really aesthetically pleasing images that we have all throughout the MAFC. They focus on, obviously, conserving showers with taking shorter showers. They also talk about, make sure you bring your water bottle, things like that. We also have rolling messages on the screens that talk about why electric vehicles are important and how the town is supporting electric vehicles. And with the idea that not only will they be able to do these things at the MAFC, but they can also do these things at home, right, and reduce their overall carbon footprint and potentially reduce their utility bills. The graphic that you see at the bottom, that is our Leave No Trace graphic, and that's on top of the lockers in both the men's and women's rooms. We worked really closely with the MAFC staff to design this with the idea that like when you go hiking, right, and you want to pick up a piece of trash, right, you leave it better than you found it. So we wanted to kind of instill that sort of message. So thank you for helping us to leave no waste, leave no trace, and collectively care for this shared space. And in a nod to our language access plan, we wanted to make sure that we were being as inclusive as possible, so we included translations in Spanish as well as Hindi. And in those rolling messages that I mentioned, we also include some translations to try to increase our accessibility. So if you haven't been into this center, I encourage you to go and see and let me know what you think of them. And now moving to waste and recycling. Goal number 3 is to increase the efficiency of waste and recycling within town operations. How do we do that? We're educating and training staff. We are including recycling signage. You'll see that signage on the right there. That is a North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality image. You'll see that in all of our facilities across town. You'll also see it in all of our parks. So we kind of did one step further, and we wanted to make sure we were putting that information in our parks as well. And we started a textile recycling program. We have their green zone bins at Public Works so that folks like the fire department can bring uniforms and we can recycle them. Of course, they have to cut out anything that references Morrisville. And these are for items that truly should not be used again. We've also kind of encouraged departments to create opportunities. Maybe there are new shirts that came in, and rather than put them in the textile recycling if they've just fallen out of favor, if they can be used by another employee, we encourage them to go ahead and let that other employee use them, preferably if they're new, of course. We have collected since June, this is only since June, but we've collected about 210 pounds of textiles to date. And that's not including our Green Day drive-through, which is twice a year in the fall and the spring. There's one coming up on March 28th if you'd like to join us for that. But this is really just focused on the textile recycling that we have at Public Works. Goal number 4 is to increase the community recycling rate. That's the participation rate. Our baseline of participation was 57.7%. We are currently at 68.3%, which is an 18% increase. It's really important to note that the national average for recycling participation is about 43%. So in all the presentations that I do, we always talk about how Morrisville, we are just recycling rock stars. And you might ask, how do we know this information? Well, we have RFID tags in our recycling bins, so we know when folks are rolling them up to the street, and we know what they weigh, and we track that information on a monthly basis by route. Goal number 5 was intended to be a food waste program accessibility campaign, meaning we wanted to make sure that we were letting our community know of opportunities to use food waste that already existed. Maybe they could contract directly with a compost now, for example, or maybe there were other opportunities for them to divert food waste. Rather than do that, we went ahead and we worked with Compost Now to put in 3 community carts that are app-operated to reduce contamination. And I'm really happy to share that we've been able to divert almost 27,000 pounds of food from the landfill. And as you are well aware, we have limits to our landfill. So this is, anything that we can do is really a positive thing. We are also, Chief Dooley was kind enough to allow us to have food waste stations at each of the fire stations as well. So they are also contributing toward that effort. Thank you, Chief Dooley. We also have, we collect fats, oils, and grease, fogs. We work closely with our stormwater folks. We want to make sure we're being good stewards of our water infrastructure. And we've collected about 570 gallons this year. So we're super proud of that too. That is also a bin at Public Works. It's accessible 24/7. And the town of Cary comes and gets that, and they turn it into biodiesel. So it's a really beautiful thing. We also collect fats, oils, and greases at our Green Day event as well. Oh, I didn't mention, so that almost, that 26,000 pounds of food equates to about 14,000 pounds of CO2 that we've been able to reduce. So win-win all the way around. Let's move to transportation. Goal number 6 is to reduce gasoline consumption 20% by 2026. This is the only goal that we are not currently tracking to attain presently. We are plus 30% usage with gasoline consumption. So when we talked about facilities, we talked about not including anything new, right, since 2019. We're attempting to do something similar with fleet. So to do that, we've identified some reasons that we'd like to dig into a little bit further to identify where this 30% is coming from. So we have an increase in vehicle count since 2019, not substantial, but still an increase. There was an increase in call volume of about 1,200 calls as compared to our baseline, and that was for fiscal year 23. Events is something really important to note. Events in fiscal year 21 were at 20, and in fiscal year 25, they were at 62. 210% increase. So you might say, how does that relate to gasoline consumption, right? So if we have police officers at those events, they're using their cars as offices, as they are expected to do, but that requires idling, right? So that increases, or that contributes to that problem. There was also, after COVID, there was a lack of available hybrid vehicles. When we did the MSP originally, we were looking at replacing 4 cars per year with hybrids versus ICE vehicles. After COVID, we were having a lot of difficulty, and I know this is not news to most of council, but we had difficulty obtaining hybrid vehicles, so we did have to purchase internal combustion engine vehicles. But another reason that this is happening is we've had some success, particularly in PD, in filling new and vacant positions, which is also added to the increase of our gasoline consumption. Let's move to built environment. And goal number 7, which is to incorporate green standards in town projects. We are tracking on this goal. Currently, we are piloting LEED, which is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. We are piloting LEED Silver Adjacent, which means we are not going for certification. We are just seeing how many of those criteria can we attain for each of these projects. So using that as sort of a template. We are doing that at the Public Works facility as well as the Senior Center. I'd also like to mention we are working with Duke Energy's Wildan program. which is the Energy Design Assistance Program, which is offered for free. We did use that at Fire Station 3 as well, which is a fantastic program. So speaking of Fire Station 3, the reason we chose LEED Silver for the pilot was because when we looked at the criteria, we pretty much made LEED Silver with all of the things that we did at Fire Station 3. So optimized mechanical systems based on what Wildan provided for recommendations. We put in a building automation system for monitoring. The rooftop solar array is the largest array that we have in town. That's at 81 kW. We put in EV charging. And of course, we have our award-winning apiaries. So those apiaries won at the state fair last year, so that was really quite fun. But those live out back at Fire Station 3, and they're not causing you any difficulty, right, Chief Dooley? Okay, good to hear. Goal number 8, which is building a sense of community. So when you think about that, we're talking about bikeability, walkability, and housing affordability. And so the Sustainability Task Force is currently assessing the viability of a housing rehabilitation program for low to moderate income residents. So right now, we're looking at what our peers are doing in this space. There's a lot going on here because Wake County obviously has some pretty serious issues with housing affordability. And this is a way for us to support making sure folks can stay in their homes. So if we can reduce utility bills, if we can possibly help with improvements, roofs, critical repairs, things like that, we feel like that contributes toward those objectives. And then speaking of bikeability and walkability, engineering has multiple projects that I'm sure you're all already aware of that are pedestrian and cycling friendly, such as Aviation Parkway, pedestrian access, and the changes that we're making to Carolina Street as a result of the Town Center project. Moving to natural environment. Goal number 9 is to maintain and nurture the town's tree canopy. We are tracking on this goal as well. We are currently working on a canopy implementation plan. And I'm going to let Miranda talk about that in a little bit. She is our sustainability intern. But essentially, we are working to develop a 5-year plan to establish goals, strategies, and actions to achieve canopy growth by targeting where that expansion will have the greatest community impact with canopy. So more on that later. Goal number 10 is native plant inclusion for town projects. We completed that pretty early on within the MSP in fiscal year 24. We established a 70% minimum for native plant materials in town projects. This particular item resides in the Public Works Standards document, which is sent to the design build firms whenever we are working on an internal project. So it's one of the criteria that they are encouraged to meet as they are creating these new green spaces for us. And then we also have Duke Energy Foundation. We were able to receive a grant from their biodiversity category to put in 3 more native gardens this year. So we're really excited about that. We're doing one coming up here shortly. I think Miranda's going to talk about that too, so I don't want to steal her thunder. But the pictures that you see there on the right, MCPs up on the top, that was a native plant garden that we put in last spring, I believe. And then Stephen Sproul took that picture of that monarch caterpillar at MCP3. So those are our real life benefits of making sure that we have native plants as habitat. And then finally, greenhouse gas emissions. So we have a goal to reduce carbon emissions by 5% by 2026. We're currently tracking at 7%. And those are based on, I'm sure you could guess it at this point, but gains in solar as well as efficiency and conservation. We've been able to reduce our CO2e, which is carbon dioxide equivalent, by 109 metric tons. We were originally hoping for 81. So we've already, we're tracking to meet that goal presently. I'm really excited to tell you. And what does that look like if we break it down just a little bit? Again, you've got your baseline on the left, that's 2019. We had 1,624 metric tons of CO2e. Our goal was to get to 1,515. Oops, sorry, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Our goal was to get to 1,543. We're currently at 1,515, which is a 7% reduction. So we are tracking on that goal. If you were to look at additional or new facilities, we would be plus 5% based on all of the new things that we've brought onto the portfolio for the town. This slide is, we've already talked about all of these things, but I thought it was important to include as sort of a summary slide, just to let you know, right, the goal is on the, obviously, the far left, and then we talk about the 2019 baseline, the 2026 goal, where we are in fiscal year 25, and then how that equates to our baseline. I worked closely with Paul Hussard, our strategic performance manager. We did put some data on the dashboard so that our community has access to understanding a little bit better all the things that the town is doing in terms of sustainability and what the impacts are. So this is, I'm segueing into the actions for fiscal year 25. So this is a snapshot in time, right? This is sort of old news, but I thought it was important to include since this is a fiscal year 25 update. I'm not going to touch on all of these items. I'm just going to highlight a few. Obviously, we put in 2 solar projects, including Town Hall and Connector. Connector is based on using the funding from congressional directed spending through Representative Ross's office, which we're very grateful for. We did apply for Tree City designation, so we had to do, if you recall, we had to do some changes to the Code of Ordinances to make sure we were specifying that Public Works was responsible for public trees. And we added a lot of other things to help protect trees there as well. So we had to sort of do that before we could apply to be a Tree City. More on that later as well. The items that are sort of on hold, at that time, the canopy implementation plan had been held up by the administration, who put a federal funding freeze on many projects, which delayed it significantly, but I'm happy to report that that is well underway. And then finally, the evaluate opportunities for developer incentives to increase or save tree canopy was an action identified in the original MSP. We put that item on hold to give the newly adopted tree preservation requirements that you all approved in 2023, give them time to have an impact, and we'd like to investigate the opportunity to work with planning on perhaps a larger, more comprehensive incentives discussion for sustainability broadly. Just to give you a little snapshot of what we're working on for fiscal year 26, we currently have a bid that is out on our website, which is due on the 16th. And so we're hoping to put solar on MAFC, and so more on that to come very soon. We're getting closer. We've never been closer. We are evaluating the food waste pilot. At this point, we're doing really well with that. I think I forgot to mention when we looked at that slide specifically, but we've been able to go from 1 pickup a week to 2 pickups a week in 1 year. And what that tells you is that people are using these food waste stations. We may even have to bump it up to 1/3. So that's really significant. That shows adoption. That shows that people are interested in using that resource. And then finally, one of the other things we hope to do this year is to review opportunities for multifamily waste and recycling funding so that we can perhaps support those facilities a little bit better with recycling opportunities. Most of these things we've already talked about. The evaluate and implement surplus policies. So as you may or may not remember, but we did integrate a sustainable purchasing guidelines policy a couple of, well, it was probably a year ago or so. We're still working through that. So what does that look like? That looks like not using town funds to purchase single-use bottled water in 20 ounces or below. It also encourages folks to not use styrofoam for packaging and or food preparation. And it also helps guide staff on making more sustainable purchases overall. And then finally, I'm going to jump to the bottom of that table with the implementation of EV infrastructure. That's something we're always looking at. Where do we see opportunities to potentially put in more EV infrastructure for charging? We have been preliminarily approved for a Clean Fuel Advanced Technology grant. We are awaiting Federal Highways Administration approval, but that would, in essence, fund chargers at the Church Street Southern lot. We were able to, this is important, we were able to work with Capital Projects to make sure that conduit was put in at the time of that project was built. And so it was a very easy opportunity for us to go ahead and apply for a grant that we could put that in very easily. So we're excited about that. So keep your fingers crossed on that item. And this is fiscal years 27 and 28. What you're looking at is the color blocks are the original MSP actions for those years, and then the revision is the column to the right. And so I think what's notable here is that the items in green did not exist when we originally developed the MSP. So we've been able to bring so many of the actions, we got them done so much more quickly than we were anticipating. We wanted to make sure that we were keeping ourselves busy, so we created these new actions. And I think of note is the assess MSP goals and report results to council/community and create new goals if appropriate. So we're going to talk about that during the last slide, but that's, I think, the biggest takeaway from this particular slide. I wanted to touch on funding really briefly here. So what you have are two tables. At the top you have grants, and at the bottom you have rebates. And at the top we've already spoken about the congressionally directed spending from Representative Ross's office. That's a match. That's $250,000 from her office. And the town is putting in the other $250,000 to give us $500,000 in solar on town facilities. We mentioned that CFAT grant. That's the grant that Federal Highways is currently approving. And then we have a Duke Energy Foundation grant for $10,000. And then when we moved to rebates, we were able to take advantage of a Duke Energy nonprofit rebate for Town Hall Solar for $37,500. That's been received. We've also received the federal elective pay incentive for Fire Station 3 as well as PSMS. And federal elective pay is basically a tax incentive that President Biden put in place with the Inflation Reduction Act. For the first time, nonprofits can take advantage of the 30% tax incentive. That is sunsetting, but we are trying to get our projects done while we can to take advantage of that opportunity, which really helps our payback tremendously. We've applied for the Town Hall Solar rebate, and connector we plan to apply here shortly as soon as the tax documents are available to us. And now I'd like to invite up Miranda Zwack, our sustainability intern, so she can tell you what she's been up to.
Good evening, everyone. As Kimberly mentioned, my name is Miranda Zwack. I'm a senior at UNC Chapel Hill, majoring in environmental science with minors in biology and GIS. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina, and I've had the privilege of interning with the town since October of last year. I believe sustainability begins at the local level and thrives through community-wide collaboration, which is what inspired me to work with the town. When it comes to sustainability, I'm particularly passionate about environmental and clean energy policy and hope to continue pursuing this interest after graduation. In the fall, I worked on managing the student art poster contest, which focused on the theme Compost Nature Superhero. The winning posters are currently on display at the Morrisville Community Library and will remain there until February 28th. My responsibilities included finalizing a Gantt chart for future planning, assisting with parent communication, prize selection and procurement, and attending the recognition event back in December. Currently, I'm assisting with the Canopy Implementation Plan and Planting, or CIPP project, which supports Goal 9. This initiative builds on the 2022 Wake County Land Cover Analysis and Tree Canopy Assessment, which established a baseline for our tree canopy. The town was awarded a grant from the North Carolina Forest Service to help develop a plan that increases canopy coverage on both public and private land. The project team includes several departments working together to advise on the plan, assess a potential community tree giveaway program, and create educational resources for residents on proper planting, pruning, and maintenance. My role involves helping manage project team tasks and data needs, attending monthly meetings, and coordinating Arbor Day. I'm excited to share that Arbor Day will be held on Saturday, April 4th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Morrisville Dog Park. The Forest Service will be in attendance, and we're hopeful that a member of Town Council will read the official proclamation. We're also developing a stakeholder survey to be shared at the event to better understand what residents know about the tree canopy and how the town can support their educational needs. Finally, as of late 2025, the town has been designated a Tree City. Tree City USA is a national recognition program that promotes the value of community trees, sets standards for urban forestry, and celebrates community improvements. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit about my work in these exciting initiatives. I look forward to continuing to support the town's sustainability goals.
Thank you, Miranda. Thank you. And I appreciate the fact that we were able to bring Miranda on this year, so thank you for your support with that. My final slide here is talking about the next generation of the MSP. And so I wanted to kind of just go through the sequence of how we're framing this kind of looking forward. So we've mentioned 5 of the 11 goals sunset in fiscal year 26. We'd like to report that progress to the community. Moving to fiscal year 27, we'd like to start to think about, well, we're already thinking about it now, but we'd like to submit a request for qualifications to identify folks that are subject matter experts in climate, sustainability, energy, that might be able to support helping us to build a new plan. We'd like to select that consultant in 27, and then in 28, we'd like to conduct stakeholder engagement, beginning with your priorities as council, first and foremost, from which we hope to draft and finalize an initial scope, and then develop that next iteration of the MSP. And at this point, I'd love to take your questions.
Okay, I'll get started because no one else has their things up just yet, and I just had a couple of thoughts. Less questions. Really great job.
Thanks.
It seems like you've gotten a lot done in 5 years, and there's a lot more to come.
It means a lot. Thank you.
I was going to say, the textile recycling, it's only at Public Works? Is that right next to the FOGs, so everyone can get to it?
So it's really just for staff. It's behind the fence currently. We do collect textiles. So at Green Day, we collect textiles with those same green zone bins. We also collect gently used furniture, clothing, shoes, which our partners at Goodwill take. So we're doing that as well, but we don't currently have anything that's available to the public on a regular basis outside of Green Day.
Okay, because I think there's some for-profit ones, so like around town at Wake Convenience Center and
yes,
some shopping centers.
Correct.
Is that something we sort of point people towards, even though they're not ours, or is that something we?
Oh, sure, absolutely, yes. Okay. So when we promote Green Day, we offer the green zone locations, and we kind of identify where those are for folks, and they're literally everywhere. So we feel like they're very accessible.
Is there any reason that we couldn't encourage them to put them right next to our food waste stations also? Make it a single trip for people?
Possibly.
Just a thought. I know it's a little bit cluttery in our parks.
Yeah. Yeah, parking
Just a thought.
spaces are something that come to mind as maybe something to consider, but possibly.
Yeah, I think of the Western Wake Farmers Market as a place where a lot of people go. So maybe
Yeah.
food waste there as well. We have the compost bins there all the time, which is kind of neat.
Yes.
Just some thoughts. Also, the food waste, any thoughts of maybe working with the private supermarkets and seeing if we can have those, because people are buying their food there, so they have to travel there every week. It seems like that might be a place where if we could partner with them, that might be a way to divert even more food waste.
Interesting idea. Yeah.
I discovered last week there's something called mill composters, and they're food recycle bins that go in your kitchen, and they're nice, but they're really expensive.
I think Steven sent me that link one time. Yes.
Is that right?
I've seen them. Yes.
So that's just something that if we can point some of our residents who are really interested in reducing waste, because that just creates compost in your kitchen.
Yes. We also support, Wake County has a bin program where they put them on sale once a year. We always, jump on that bandwagon, make sure our community knows about that opportunity too, to put composters in the
Apex for
backyard.
mine many years ago.
Yeah.
So that was good. The Southern Lot EVs, they already have the conduits, so that's really great. I think we also have conduits at the dog park. Is it possible to consider getting the EVs in there too? Can we expand that grant?
I don't believe we have conduit at the dog park. We do? Oh,
It was
okay.
pre-built in there.
Oh, okay. My
So
apologies.
that would just be a thought.
Yeah, yes, and we have town hall chargers and yes, but yes.
We love yes and. Really good stuff. I'd like to also recognize Jim Simmons. He's the chair of the MES committee, is here supporting and is very active as well. And I'm hoping that in addition to asking for the consultant, we'll be asking for another Miranda or more for next year.
I believe that's the intent, yes.
Okay. I apologize. I'm not sure which of you two put it up because I was talking. Councilmember Johnson, followed by Mayor Pro Tem Rabati, please.
Thank you. And thank you, Kimberly. Great job. And thank you, Miranda. Great job, too. Appreciate all your help. I love the feedback here or the update on all the goals and how well we are doing or how well you are doing and how well the organization is doing. I guess I had a question about goal number 6, about the gasoline consumption. And I understand why that is the way it is. I just wonder, are we using the wrong measurement? Is there, obviously the overall, you'd love to reduce gas consumption by X amount, but maybe it needs to be based on something else, like based on, and I don't know what that is, based on the number of staff we have, based on whatever. You talked about the events have increased over time and that factors in. So I don't know what the answer is, but it just stood out to me as something that I know you all are working on and focusing on, but I'm wondering if we're just not measuring it right.
I appreciate that comment and I agree 100%. And I think we're using this as a learning opportunity and yes.
Okay, good, thank you. And then the only other thing, everything was fabulous in this, so thank you for all the work you're doing. And you may have answered this and told us this in the past, and I'm gonna ask it again because I can't remember. So we have Tony Victor, who is our environmental specialist, who's over in engineering, and clearly does kind of complementary work to what you are doing, but clearly is focused in a different way with stormwater and all the requirements that we have there. But how are you all working together? Tell me how that's how that works.
I would love to talk to you about that. As the mayor pointed out, Jim Simmons, our new chair, is part of the Morrisville Environment and Stormwater Committee. So that is very much a joint effort between sustainability and stormwater. They attend all of the meetings. They actually help us with minutes and agenda prep and those types of things. We have a number of MESC volunteers that are supporting Creek Week, and stormwater is something we talk about every single meeting. And also, we have members of the stormwater team that are on the Canopy Implementation Plan project team. So we are making sure that we are keeping one another apprised of what we're working on, because you're 100% correct. We have very similar objectives, and they overlap a lot, which is a great thing. Yes.
I agree. Yeah, thank you for that. Sure. I appreciate it.
Mayor Pro Tem Rabati, followed by Councilmember Kessling, please.
Hey, Kimberly, just to echo what everyone else said, fabulous work. And Miranda, it sounds like we really lucked out getting you as our intern. So I hope that you have time to stay with us and see all this come to fruition, because Arbor Day particularly is a favorite of mine. So it's great that you're working on that. I did want to ask Kimberly, you said that the street lights were a major contributor to our energy consumption. Are there not solar-powered streetlight things? Like, I don't understand why. I mean, if that seems like low-hanging fruit.
Great question. They are just becoming available now. There are some of our larger peers like Charlotte, and I think some of the NCDOT folks are piloting some of those solar-powered lights. We actually had a vendor in to talk to us about a year or so ago, and we are currently considering them for things like greenways. So yes, it's technology that's coming, and we're kind of assessing how our peers do with it first before we kind of embark on anything ourselves.
That makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to jump into anything. Also, I had a question. Let's see, which slide was it on? Okay, I had another question, but I can't find it, so I'll be emailing that to you.
Okay, sounds
Thank you,
great.
though. Really, really great work, and I'm glad, it's obvious that you've given Miranda a great chance to be with us and learn and manage some projects on her own. So, that sends her out into the world to do good things, too.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And if you remember it, we'll circle it back to you. Councilmember Kessling.
Thank you, Kimberly, for the presentation. Appreciate all of the work that you've put into this program. And excited about Miranda being on. I suppose we're going to zoom out real high level. So we've successfully reduced town emissions by 480 metric tons. I believe that was in the April 2025 report.
Yes.
I've done some research, and for the just town of Morrisville, this is coming from a place called Crosswalk Labs. The town as a whole is currently emitting 222,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year. And that's equivalent to, if we wanted to mitigate that with trees, let's say we'd have to plant 3.7 million trees every single year to offset that. And that also is a cost, using the data that we have in the, I can't remember what that was, the sustainability investment.
Investments report,
yeah.
Yes.
That $51 per metric ton for the social cost of carbon, that 222,000 translates to $11.3 million per year in risk and liability that future taxpayers will eventually pay for, in infrastructure repairs and public health costs. Right, this is a global externality, right? So damages in, places elsewhere, global emissions, right? Damage to the global economy, which bounce back hurts the U.S. economy, which disrupts our supply chains here, which hurts local businesses. So that's kind of the scale, I think, that I think about, I suppose, when we look at some of this stuff. So yes to all of what my fellow council members have said, real big and. One of the things that in advance of the the next gen master sustainability plan, sustainable development code that would bake pretty much pre-researched, pre-prepared policy positions, reforms that can just be integrated into, the town, just how we do business, right? That's definitely something that I would like to see. I've sent some questions over to Brandon. There's a lot of questions that I do have about some specific things, but I'll leave those for that. More so for my council members, I think having a car dependency reduction plan would be really good. Sustainability development code or sustainable development code would fit into that. And then if we can find a way to, with reaching out to members of our community, building emissions reductions. We can do that through a free energy auditing that we provide to the town, to these companies, to these manufacturing facilities, commercial facilities, that they can then use and reduce their carbon emissions. Yeah.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Thank you. The Sustainable Development Code, are you referring to that for town projects?
That is for
only?
That would be in the Unified Development Ordinance and Land Use Plan, Comprehensive Transportation Plan. So it's that. For town projects, we talk about a green building standard. One extra, I guess, a question that I have: are we designing public works to the 2018 building code or the 2024 building code?
I believe the 2024 building code.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so yes.
Sorry to interrupt, and I apologize, Kimberly. I only know this because I spoke to Shandy. We're building that to the 2018 building code. The 2024 building code has not yet been adopted in North Carolina. There are still steps that need to be taken through the legislature, and that just hasn't happened. So the earliest that building code can be adopted for use in North Carolina is going to be 2027.
And is there a restriction that the state imposes on municipalities to use the 2024 code?
There's not a restriction per se. It's not authorized by the state. If you were to consider that, you would have to go with everything in that code, and we'd also have to do some work probably with the attorney's office to determine what we could and could not do legally.
One other question with LEED, we are just looking at that as a checklist. We're not looking at that for certification. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is there a particular version of LEED that we're looking at?
We are looking at, I believe it's 4.1. I think when we last updated the Public Works Standards, 5 wasn't available yet, so we were leaning on 4.1.
Gotcha. Got a lot more stuff here, but I'll leave it for a later date.
Thank you for your comments.
Councilmember Patel, please.
First of all, thank you for the updates.
Thank you.
Councilmember, will you turn on your mic, please? Thank you.
Forgetting. For vehicles we use, is there an option for full electric vehicles, or hybrid is the only option?
So your question was, is there an option for fully electric vehicles? Mm-hmm. Yes, I drive one, yes.
And have you considered those?
They are considered within the hierarchy when we are at a point where we replace vehicles. That is part of our replacement policy. Yes.
Very good, thank you. And then you mentioned 70% minimum native plant inclusion. Is that mandatory or recommended?
It is recommended, but I don't believe there's a project that's gone through that hasn't utilized that minimum.
Okay, that's good. Mayor Pro Tem Robati beat me to this, but I was also going to mention the solar power street lights, so I'll be interested in learning about that and how we can go about using those. If we can go to page 9.
Yes.
There is a picture here about recycling right. Where is it? Where is this used? Are we?
You're asking where the messaging currently is?
Uh-huh.
Okay. There should be one right in this kitchen,
Right.
right here. Yes, so every facility in town has one posted. And then we also, as I mentioned, put them in each of the parks because obviously we rent out our shelters quite often and we wanted to make sure that folks had access to that information there as well.
Okay, that's good. So I think it may be also helpful to put something similar to what we have on page 28 with composting, what to recycle and what not to recycle. A lot of people tend to think that grocery bags, plastic, we recycle. And there are a lot of other things that you should not be recycling, but everybody may not be aware of it. So
Yes.
that's a suggestion.
Thank you.
That, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councilmember Scroggins Johnson, please.
Well done, well done. Very comprehensive. It really leaves little to ask because you've very, thoughtfully laid this out for us. The one thing that kind of resonates with me is about our streetlights. And I know that we've been working over many years to convert from the old standard streetlight to LEDs, and with new neighborhoods, they usually now install LEDs as well. There is a program that Public Works has had in place about streetlight reimbursement. Do you know if that program is still ongoing?
That's the Powell bill?
Right.
Yes.
Have you been working with some of the neighborhoods to see if they would consider converting to LEDs? Some of the older neighborhoods might not have converted some of their streetlights due to, could be like style, could be intensity, because LED is quite significantly brighter than the standard lights, but that might be another opportunity to consider reducing the electricity is looking at streetlights. But again, the intensity is probably a consideration in those neighborhoods. Spacing is quite far apart for the older neighborhoods because I think that was a different standard for neighborhoods, streetlights than they are today. So, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Most of the lights that we have, and Stephen can speak to more detail on this, but most of the lights that we have, we rent from Duke Energy, and my understanding is those are LEDs when those are put in initially. I'm not even sure if we have any that still have something other than LEDs, but we've put so many more in. So yes, but thank you for the
I
issue.
definitely think the neighborhoods do have the old style.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, I appreciate that.
We've all had an opportunity. Now we're going to circle back. If anyone else had any other thoughts, I'll recognize Councilmember Kessling and then myself.
I just wanted to highlight as well from whichever report it was in that the $1 invested in sustainability gets a return of $1.14. So that makes financial sense for us to pursue sustainability. I got all the big picture stuff kind of out of my head now. Kind of focus on some of this more specific stuff. I really like the housing rehabilitation program. I think that's a great way to support energy efficiency and aging in place. I also want to bring up an issue that I've seen with some of the way we're mulching trees. Volcano mulching ends up damaging trees, and it's just mounding the mulch on top of the tree. I actually have some pictures when I was walking through Breckenridge this weekend of just all the mulch is gone, but you're seeing the roots kind of snake around the trunk of the tree. And as we're looking into the tree canopy plan, and certainly we want to expand our tree canopy, but also protect what we have. I think that would be just making sure that
Thank you.
we're doing that properly. And then with native plants, I love that we're doing native planting. I do want to stress, though, that it's not enough to simply plant native plants. We're trying to develop native ecosystems, right? We're trying to regain what we've lost, along the way. So
Yes, agreed.
that is the extent of my additional comments.
I just had a couple of things and some notes. I like the solar streetlights idea. Perhaps we can do those as betterments along aviation when we widen that or something, because there's an opportunity there coming. Would be nice to be innovative in doing those things happening. Tree archive, be great to have something like that in town. If you're tracking the metrics of how many trees we've been planting, that would be nice to be able to present that, especially as we're going to be doing more of those tree plantings in the future. I think that would be great. So just generally, more trees, more better. I recently saw the term wish cycle. So that's something that we can sort of help people understand, because I know that you guys are already saying when in doubt, throw it out. So that's another way to sort of don't just wish to recycle something, because it's going to damage and contaminate a lot.
That's
so
right.
That's just the way to get to it. I recently learned that some waste processing companies are finding lithium batteries being a really large challenge. So are we already working with GFL to find out how we can help them downstream with our efforts upstream for lithium batteries and contamination? How is our partnership with them going?
So what I can speak to is we do collect batteries at our Green Day events twice a year, which is an expense to the town, but we feel that it's worthwhile. And then once our new, the Wake County Convenience Center is built, they will also take hazardous waste, so they will be taking them as well. I know that doesn't answer your full question, but at least we have an opportunity for the community to dispose of them in the right way.
Yep, that's wonderful. So which investments, in your opinion, have the highest ROI or community impact right now that we're doing, that we can maybe allocate more resources to get that extra 14 cents or whatever?
I think baking sustainability into the beginning of a project.
Okay.
And of course, solar is something that has been tremendously valuable to us, especially with all of those incentives that we've been able to put toward it. But trees as well. I appreciate all of the comments surrounding trees, and I think we've got some work to do there, and we're tackling it.
How about the MAFC parking canopies? Is that part of the MFC that's moving forward?
That was included as an alternate within the bid, the formal bid. So yes, that is something that we are considering. It'll come down to budget, what we have available for budget, because of course we already did the connector building. And we now have to use domestic materials because the BABA waiver, the Buy America, Build America waiver expired at the end of December 2025. So we now have to use domestic, which will mean we can still do most of these projects, but they're going to be smaller because they're going to be a lot more expensive. So we've got that to contend with.
So I'd be interested in maybe not value engineering them, but doing it based on financial payback. Smaller is okay.
Right.
It's maybe not as good in the long run. So I'd like to have that opportunity if possible. That's all that I have. I think this has been a great presentation and good discussion and great ideas from the council. Looking forward to becoming even more educated as you create this next plan. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of community outreach for that. I think our residents really are really interested in this for sure. Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate the rich conversation.
And welcome, Miranda. Thank you for being here, Jim. Thank you, Kimberly. Great job.
Thank you.
We are now at item number 11. Did you have something, sir? No. That is future meetings, events, and resident involvement opportunities. For a full listing of these events, please see the town calendar at www.morrisvillenc.gov. Right now, we're going to move on to council comments. Council Member Scroggins Johnson will share first, and be followed by Councilmember Garamella, please.
No comments at this time, thank you.
Councilmember Garamella, followed by Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Johnson, followed by Councilmember Patel.
So I just have two things. One, and we did this at the last council meeting and we need to do it again. Thank you to Public Works for the second round of snow that we had and all that they did. I'm not sure, I know
He just left.
I'm not sure that they had even time to rest before they had to start and do it all over again. So they did an incredible job as usual, and I just want to say a shout out to Public Works, who was here 24/7 during that 2-week period or 2-weekend period. So thank you. And then I just want to also echo the comment we got tonight from Sam Warren about the Black History Month event that we had last week. It was fabulous. Parks and Rec did an incredible job. The group that came, and I'm looking from UNC, they came from UNC. I forget the name of the group. They were incredibly talented young people. I was in awe of what they can do. I was out of my comfort zone at that event. We all had, those of you that weren't there, we had to write a poem. And that was, I'm not a poem writer. I'm not a writer at all. So it was really fun to be with them, and they did an excellent job. So kudos to Parks and Rec.
Sorry, I missed that. That sounds nice, because I'm neither a poet either. Councilmember Patel, followed by Councilmember Kessling.
So echo Councilmember Johnson's comments about Public Works and the tremendous job that everyone has done during the storms. But yeah, that's it. No further comments.
Okay. Councilmember Kessling, followed by myself.
Congratulations to Sergeant Manville and Battalion Chief Chris Salter for their retirement. I think that's great. And thank you to Public Works for their efforts. I wanted to express my satisfaction that the Public Works facility will be utilizing an existing building that will be retrofitted. That's a great example of baking sustainability into operations. I know it wasn't thought of as a sustainability option, but it's a fiscal option. But it shows how the financial components, finance and sustainability really ties together. It's efficient use of public funds. I started out really pie in the sky. I got a little bit more detailed. Going to get even more detailed. The monumental sign we're investigating the new batteries in the control system. I appreciate the diligence in resolving the sign in that way. Even though it's small, it aligns with strategic plans, goal 1 and 7 of the strategic plan. Right, we're reducing the reliance on outside energy. So it's just another sustainability component that just to emphasize that we can have sustainability in all of our town operations in this way.
And so you're talking about the monument sign at Davis and Morrisville Carpenter that wasn't getting enough light during the day, so the town is retrofitting to make it more sustainable. I thought that was also great. I just echo everything else that my fellow council members said. I don't have any additional comments. Mayor Pro Tem Rabati?
Liz, I think we'd all like to hear that poem.
No, you don't. Thank you for your confidence.
Other than that, I have no comments.
So we are scheduled for a break for 15 minutes. So if we could please reconvene at 8:25. Actually, I failed to recognize the town manager because we also have manager comments. So thank you for waving and getting my attention.
And if I didn't have good news, I wouldn't be that exaggerated. Thank you, Mayor, for a couple of minutes. Primarily, I think for our audience and for those at home, as you're aware of this, but a couple of really good news items from this past week. So cannot say enough good things about our working relationship with and our appreciation for Congresswoman Deborah Ross. So last week, we were notified that we are receiving a $250,000 award from the federal earmarks that finally passed through. That will support the town center project, so we're very excited about that. I expect we'll be back in March to talk with you about how that might be utilized and where we are with that project now that you can see shovels are in the ground, fences are up, things are starting to happen. So that was great news. So thank you again to Congresswoman Ross and her staff. And then yesterday at the Wake County Commissioners, you are, I think, all aware that we applied for hospitality tax money in the amount of $2 million to support the $5 million estimated renovations at Church Street Park. Yesterday, the committee, primarily our former own Michael James, led that presentation at the commissioners. They had 22 requests that totaled over $75 million. They had $23.5 million to award. They ended up awarding, I believe, 12 out of the 22. They did 6 new construction projects and 6 renovation projects, and they have recommended our project to be funded at the full $2 million request. We anticipate that that will be on an agenda for the commissioners to consider for potential approval next Monday. We also anticipate right now that it could be on the Raleigh City Council agenda for that Tuesday night, the 17th. You'll recall that 23.5 was broken into 2 buckets. There was an $8 million bucket that just Wake County decided on, and there was a $15.5 million bucket that Wake and Raleigh decided together. We just randomly, no real reason, but we ended up in the $15.5 million bucket. So we just need approval from both of those commissions/councils. So in a perfect world, that'll happen by next Tuesday. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, I want to particularly call out some folks on our team. You know, we were told by Michael, I think I can say this publicly, that we made an easy decision for them, which I'm really excited about. So particularly kudos to John, also to Cindy King, Stephen Spruill, I didn't get to say nice things before he left, and to Brian Ray. So they were particularly complimentary of the presentation that was made as well. So kudos to that team for getting that done. That's exciting news for us. And Stephen and the team are moving forward now with getting ready to start the lighting upgrades so that those are ready for the regular season this coming spring/early summer. 3 other quick things. One, I can't say enough good things about Public Works either, but I'm going to say a few more good things about them Thursday at 11:30 when we host an appreciation lunch for them. You are all welcome to join us. That'll be at Public Works Thursday at 11:30. And then also a reminder that Central Pines Regional Council has their regional day on Friday, February 20th. If you don't mind, if you could just reach out to me after the meeting, email, whatever, if you're planning to attend that, just so I know if we have council members that will be there. And then the last thing, we had some discussion at the last meeting about the draft emergency operations plan. So have had some conversations internally and with several of you. And so we'll be sending out some draft language that you can take a look at in advance of us coming back at the, I think, are we on the 24th, 26th, 24th, 26th? At the work session. So ahead of that, we'll send you some sample language just so you can see what we're going to discuss. I think that's going to address some of the questions and concerns as far as what will be in that document that we bring back and ask for you to approve. Thank you.
Just one other thing, I believe we have roundtable on the 26th, and those are due like next Monday for submission, just so everyone's ready for that?
At midnight. At midnight.
Okay, great. So at this time, we're scheduled to take a break. So please reconvene in 15 minutes at 8:28. Thank you.
I apologize. I need to turn to Kayla really quickly. I got all excited about the money, and Kayla has something to share. I apologize.
Town Clerk Pertling.
While we're on the subject of deadlines, you have another one tomorrow at midnight for the PZB ballots. That's going out on the agenda on Thursday, so if you could please get that in tomorrow. Additionally, when we send out the agenda on Thursday, as a part of our ever-evolving IT security upgrades, there's going to be a slight change to how you all access that. It's just going to be, you're going to need to be logged in to access it. If you have any issues, just reach out to me. I just want to give you a heads up since that was changing.
Appreciate that. Please be back at 8:29. Thank you. We are now back in session. We have one work session tonight. We will now hear from Kayla Bertling, our town clerk.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is a continuation of our discussion on the 25th, which we ran through very fast in about 10 minutes. So looking first at Rule 25, proclamations. What we kind of skipped through was a review of the 2025 changes, the 2025 annual report, which is an attachment. Before we get to looking at 2026, did anybody have any questions about 2025? All right, jumping ahead to the discussion on reading. So when we started this discussion last year of who's going to read which proclamation, we really heard from you all that we wanted a balance of an equal distribution, but that one allows for passions. It's a simple system, but it allows for changes, and it's just clear is the goal. So what we talked about last time was from our annual holiday list, which we determined last year, plus some town events that aren't on that list. Like a good example would be the Senior Health and Fitness Day is not on your annual list, but we know we're going to have an event for that. So assigning 3 each to all of you. Other requests that come in for council meetings would be on a rotation basis. So last meeting we had 2 that were on that rotation. And then any other proclamation that comes out throughout the year, or if something happens to the 3 that we assign, anything like that, would be this talk it out. And so we have one of those coming up next week, the proclamation you all approved tonight for Government Communicators Day, based on availability, that would fall under talk it out for whoever is able to attend. And so we started an exercise just to get us to a place where we could start discussions. And you all provided your top 5 selections for proclamations. And then myself and Copilot used Excel's solver function to do the best to equally distribute that. And that's just to give you a starting point for discussions tonight. So here's one way to look at that data. So if we look here at this first column with the mayor, his number 1 choice was National Parks Recreation Month. That is bolded and italicized to kind of differentiate that this is what it assigned to him. The second choice was NC Arbor Day, and that's what it assigned to him as well. Now, the third choice was Holy Festival of Colors, and that one's not bolded, and that's because it went to someone else. So it actually went to Councilmember Patel. And so the 5th choice, the National Family Health and Fitness Day, was the 3rd one that was assigned. And so you can kind of look at each of your columns in that way. 2 things to note with this is Councilmember Garamella didn't rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just ranked these are the top 5. And then Councilmember Kessling and I were just discussing he swapped 1st and 5th. So that might impact your discussions tonight.
One clarification, it's entirely reversed.
Entirely reversed, excuse me. Here is another way to look at how it solved it for you, so how each one was assigned. You'll see National Senior Health and Fitness Day and the menorah lighting. We're not assigned, so we need to assign those tonight. And so our decision points tonight is first, are there any changes to the solved assignments? With Councilmember Kessling having that reversal, do we need to discuss anything there? Is there anything else you would all like to discuss? We need to select 2 additional. So that perfect 21 assigned to all of you is not quite perfect. We only have 19 that we know we're going to have events or fall under our policy. These 5 here are part of your annual holiday list, meaning that they don't need to be requested. I'm automatically going to put it on your agenda. But they technically don't meet our policy to be read in a meeting, or we don't have a planned event for them. So my recommendation is we pick 2 to assign just to make it a little bit more fair for you all. And then once we have those 2 selected, Mayor Pro Tem Robati and Council Members Scroggins, Johnson, Garamella, and Kessling, it only assigned them 2 because we were waiting on this middle piece. So assigning those 2, National Senior Health and Fitness Day, the menorah lighting, and then those 2 from the middle. So I'll open it up to council discussion. Councilmember Johnson.
So Kayla, didn't we pick that middle group? Did you ask us to pick?
So some of you did select it, but not everybody did, so I wanted to bring it back for you all to discuss.
Because I was gonna say, what was the outcome?
Some of you checked it, but not everybody did, so I thought, let's just bring it back and open discussion.
So you want us to talk now? So I'm one of the people.
Councilmember Johnson, were you finished with your comments?
So I'm one of the individuals
Okay.
that only has two.
Mhm.
So I actually would like to see the Women's History Month and Women in Public Office moved. I did select this one of my top 5. So that to be read in a council meeting, that could be maybe my 3rd. If that's okay with everybody.
And so what I would recommend for council is, we could go one of two directions. You all can select first, we want these two, or you can turn to your 4 members who need a 3rd one and distribute it up that way. So that's entirely up to you all.
Back what Vicky just said. That was one of the ones I picked. I wanted that one to, so.
But that means that there's more for everybody else. The other thing too is both of my selections are out of the council chambers, so there'll be an on-site kind of thing. And I was looking at a lot of the 2 events by other council members were also outside of a council meeting, so I'm not special if you know. But just to have one proclamation I could read in a council meeting is what I would prefer. Thank you.
So I'm hearing kind of 3 for that proclamation. Do we want to focus on this one? Is there any other comments from the rest of council so we can get a consensus? Councilmember Kessler.
Do we want to go back to the solved assignments?
Yeah,
first?
almost sort of reset that and make sure we're
Yeah,
have a
and I
good
think,
foundation first, since that was.
and I think the only change would be that Arbor Day would be my number 1, and Small Business Saturday would either go to, I can't remember who it was.
I did select that one too.
Yeah, but it was your last one.
Right.
The way, I guess
There
that.
were several people. There
Mhm.
was Liz and Satish as well.
Oh, sorry, excuse me, Councilmember. You'll also turn on your microphones. So if because I know we talked about last time, trying to get everyone their top choice. So if Councilmember Kessling received his top choice for NC Arbor Day, then that frees up the Small Business Saturday, and then that adds 1 that needs to be assigned for Mayor Colley.
Did I really write 3 or did I do 1? I thought
You did 1s on all of them, but just to help with the weighting, I put 3s.
Because I don't remember writing 3. Actually.
No, you just did 1s all the way.
I did 1s.
Yeah.
How hard would it be to reverse Harrison's and give us the chart right now? Because we're kind of flying almost blind.
Well, the only real impact is
Small business.
It cascades.
it not exactly, because the Juneteenth and Pride Month, those would still be lower. It'd be 3 and 4 instead of 3 and 2. So that doesn't change. The only one that changes is NC Arbor Day and Small Business Saturday. The question then becomes who wants to do Small Business Saturday?
And then
Because that's Johnson and Garamella, and they each need 1.
That is if Mayor Colley is okay with me doing NC Arbor Day.
That's fine. That's your first choice.
You had all first choices, so
He had
I
all
don't
3rd
know.
choice.
So it's like putting in a different zone.
Do you want to let us know what your first and second choice were? Would that make it easier for you to teach? I mean, Councilmember Garamella?
Yeah.
What would those be? Can you print that out so you can have something to work from?
I have something to work from here. I think it's going to be difficult to print something for all of you.
No, it's okay. But
Oh,
if you have
yeah.
something that
Oh.
you can work from.
She knows how to keep
That chart can change it up.
Yeah, this is a slightly different one for me.
so it's not a dynamic chart.
So Councilmember Garamella, did you have a top choice that you'd like to get?
Either Holi or
Well, you
Diwali.
need your blue thing.
Holy or what?
Diwali.
So, Councilmember Patel, those are both assigned to you. Since Diwali was your first choice, would you be okay if Councilmember Garamella got Holy? So that opens up one for Councilmember Patel to be reassigned. So if we, let me jump back to here. So of the four we have to assign, Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Rabadi still needs one. Councilmember Scroggins Johnson still needs one. Councilmember Patel needs one, and Mayor Colley needs one. So you two switched and you two switched.
I think you said Mayor called twice.
And I thought I was,
I think you should have all three.
I have three.
You have three now. Because you're taking Small Business Saturday?
I thought I was taking the Women History Month. Is that extra, or do you want us to do?
I already have three, I'm good.
So is there council consensus for Women's History Month to be read in the council?
Yes.
1, 2, 3,
Because we
4.
usually do a picture or two with all the
Yes.
women, and it's kind of a thing that we've done.
You might want to invite other electeds as well, like legislators and stuff, if you want that. If you want, just a thought, if you're doing a picture.
We'll see when we get there.
All right, so we have one selected, that's Women's History Month. We still need to assign National Senior Health and Fitness Day, menorah lighting, and one more to Mayor Colley, Councilmember Patel, and Mayor Pro Tem Rabadi.
Mayor, are you going to want Read Across America Day?
That or Earth Day would be my top two choices, but I'm flexible.
Okay. So I'll do the menorah lighting if you want.
Okay.
And that way you get those two, the Read Across America and Earth Day.
I only need one.
No, we have Women's History Month at one of those slots now.
Right.
There's only one more.
No,
So it can be either Read Across America Day or Earth Day, not both.
So we can do Mayor Colley with doing either Earth Day or Read Across America Day, and then that would leave Councilmember Patel with National Senior Health and Fitness Day. Is that agreeable with council? So you get that one?
Take Earth Day.
There we go.
If something is unassigned, if something is unassigned, that means we're just gonna rotate it, right?
And so you're talking about this green column here in the middle.
I'm just, because, well,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yes.
the big list and this, if something is unassigned, it
So
will be rotated.
if it's in a council meeting, it will be rotated. If it's out of a council meeting, talk it out.
Okay, thank you so much.
Perfect. All right, just, let me. Oh, sorry. Councilmember.
Can we go back to the chart?
This chart?
Are we each supposed to have 2 or 3?
3.
3.
And so what you might be seeing is that like in your row, you only had 2 assigned, and that's because we hadn't figured out this green. And so what the system did was it just assigned you one of these open ones, like the menorah lighting.
But I've not been assigned in 3rd.
So you
have Arbor Day now.
You have Arbor Day now.
And I lost Small Business Saturday.
Yeah, so let me go to
went
this
2.
one. So the difference here is, this is as is, except Holy Festival Colors has switched to Councilmember Garamella. NC Arbor Day has switched to Councilmember Kessling. National Senior Health and Fitness Day has been assigned to Councilmember Patel. Menorah lighting has been assigned to Councilmember Rabadi. Women's History Month has been assigned to Councilmember Scroggins Johnson, and then Earth Day to Mayor Colley.
Mayor Colley has 4 and I have 2.
No. You have 3. You have Black History Month, NC Arbor Day, and Small Business Saturday.
Is Small Business Saturday going to someone else?
I mean, I would love to do Small Business Saturday, but I have my 3. I would have to give up Senior Day or something.
What is Senior Health and Fitness Day?
That is a day, I believe it's in June, celebrating and promoting health and wellness for seniors. And so I think last year we presented it at I want to say maybe it was a yoga event at the senior center.
Not to complicate this further, but I would be interested in keeping Small Business Saturday, losing NC Arbor Day, and taking Earth Day. That's
Fine. I'll do that again.
Well, you can do Read Across America Day. If you
We didn't pick that one.
instead. What?
Oh, that's true. We have
Or
a choice.
we could all do Read Across America Day.
I thought you didn't want to share.
I actually really like that
Sharing,
idea.
I don't want to.
No, but we did that in 2014.
It's a fun rhyme, and we can expand it to 7.
Yeah,
Read across the council.
yeah.
Okay.
Before you
Let's
joined
keep it
council,
moving.
we actually did that one.
Give us a summary. so we
All
can
right.
pass it.
I'm going to I'll read through the whole thing. Black History Month, Councilmember Kessling. Holy Festival of Colors, Councilmember Garamella. NC Arbor Day, Mayor Colley. National Child Abuse Prevention Month, Councilmember Johnson. Nepal Day, Councilmember Patel. Small Business Week, Councilmember Garamella. National Tennis Month, Councilmember Garamella. Peace Officers Memorial Day and Police Week, Councilmember Johnson. National Senior Health and Fitness Day, Councilmember Patel. National Family Health and Fitness Day, Mayor Colley. Pride Month, Mayor Pro Tem Robati. Juneteenth, Mayor Pro Tem Robati. National Parks and Recreation Month, Mayor Colley. Morrisville Day, Councilmember Scoggins Johnson. Senior Citizens Day, Councilmember Scoggins Johnson. Diwali, Councilmember Patel. Small Business Saturday, Councilmember Kessling. World Pancreatic Cancer Day, Councilmember Johnson. Menorah Lighting, Mayor Pro Tem Robati. Women's History Month and Women in Public Office, Councilmember Scoggins Johnson. Earth Day, Councilmember Kessling. Perfect. And then, so what I plan to do next year is I'll bring this to you at retreat of this is what you decided last year, and we have a good starting point of what, if any, changes do we want. So hopefully this will go a little faster in 2027.
Maybe tweak.
You said retreat?
Retreat, next year, for next year. Mhm.
When we're out of town, maybe.
All right, so one last thing for proclamations. I just wanted to pause here. So all of our proclamations fall under 2 buckets. Proclamations that are presented by council as a whole, which all of our proclamations for 2025 fell in this. The therefore statement says council promotes this, even if just one person reads it. Or twice annually, you each can present one proclamation directly. It has some stricter guidelines, and so I'll work with you on that. I just wanted to bring it up. Your policy says that it will be included on the annual report, but it specifically says it will not be included on any agendas. So do you want a notification if someone uses that outside of the annual report, like as it comes up throughout the year, just an email? Somebody has done this.
I think that'd be nice.
I think that would be helpful because maybe I have the same idea, and we pick the same person or something, or, similar kind of achievement, right?
I heard 3, yep, 4.
Yes, I agree.
Makes sense.
All right, moving on to Rule 35, council participation in events. This was added in September of last year, and you all asked for a check during retreat of just how are things going? We're a few months in. And so I'll just open it up to council discussion. Is there any feedback that you all have or any discussion you'd like?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's working.
All right, well, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you all. That was good. Good discussion. Anything for the good of the order? Anything for the good of the order, Town Manager? No. Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to adjourn from Councilmember Johnson, a second from Mayor Pro Tem Robati. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously. It is 8:51. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Good job. Good job.